Hello again, ladies and gentlemen, Saka here, and welcome to a special running of the All-Star Race here in NASCAR Racing 2003 season. Those eligible are those actually eligible in the 2018 season, as well as those winners from this season. Speaking of which, William Byron on the pole with Jimmy Johnson, his teammate, on the outside. Joey Logano on the inside of row 2, and Brandon on the outside. Denny Hamlin and Martin Truex Jr., a pair of Toyotas, make up row 3. Kevin Harvick and Brad Keselowski, the Fords, make up row 4. Chase Elliott and Jamie McMurray, the Chevys, make up row 5. Clint Bowyer and Kyle Busch make up row 6. Ryan Blaney and Saka, also with a brand new paint scheme, make up row 7. Let's look at Brandon's brand new paint scheme for this week. It is the WreckingandRacing.com podcast. Red Chevy Camaro, and Saka is sporting the colors of the Kerbal Space Program Making History Camaro. Also, Matt Kenseth rounds out the field. It's good to see Matt Kenseth back in an all-star race. But we're getting ready to go green. Pace car is off, and the field is in the hands of William Byron. Here we go, and green flag is in the air. We are racing at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. 20 laps in this first segment, 20 laps in segment 2, with no eliminations between. Jimmy Johnson gets a good run on the outside. 2x2 behind him. We can see Alex Bowman here fighting on the bottom. Looks like the leaders are starting to get single filed out. This mid-pack is still double file. Very slick on the entry of turn 3. We can see Saka up top fighting very hard on the outside of Kyle Larson and Casey Kane looking to the bottom there. Cars streak by at a very high speed. The pack is still close together. Ryan Newman is starting to lose touch with the field. Denny Hamlin on the outside of that Furniture Row Toyota of Martin Truex Jr. He'll get back in line. We'll see the drivers start to get single file as soon as they can. The outside groove does have some grip. Kevin Harvick up top of Chase Elliott trying to make up that spot. And his Stewart Haas teammate Clint Bowyer looking to the inside as well, followed by Martin Truex Jr. Kevin Harvick holding a pretty wheel up top, trying to get that bite and get in front of his teammate Clint Bowyer. Brandon looked a little high off of turn 2, fighting with the 22 of Joey Logano. I think Brandon will get back in line here. Yes, he does. So Jimmy Johnson out front, William Byron in second, Joey Logano in third, Brandon in fourth. Here's a good battle. Kyle Busch on the inside. Ooh, Austin Dillon dropping back a bit. Saka will look to the bottom to make that pass. So it looked like Austin Dillon got choked up behind Kyle Busch, and that hurt both of their momentum. Saka looks to the inside. Treacherous turn 3, really slick down there. And it looks like Saka can pick up the throttle and get around Kyle Busch. Moves Saka ahead of Kyle Busch. 16 laps to go now. Martin Truex Jr. on the outside of young Ryan Blaney. And for the most part, the cars are single file as we had imagined them to be. Just a few of the fast cars are trying to make that outside line work. And Ryan Blaney will drop back behind Martin Truex Jr. Looks like we have a battle between Chase Elliott and Joey Logano in front of Brandon there. A battle for third place. Jimmy Johnson still leads and put Chase Elliott up to third, so a great run for the Hendrick Motorsports cars. Joey Logano looking back off the rear bumper of Joey Logano here at Brandon in that WreckingandRacing.com Exalta Camaro. Brandon looks to the outside. He's starting to work that outside groove, trying to get the bite off of turn 3 and through turn 4. Looks like he did make up a little bit of ground there. He is hounding Joey Logano into turn 1. He should make a move down here to the inside, and indeed Brandon does complete the pass, put Brandon up in fourth behind those 3 Hendrick Motorsports Chevys, and put Joey Logano back in fifth. Riding along with the visor cam here with Saka, you can tell by the steering wheel. Looking to the outside, Brad Keselowski looking to the bottom, and Saka is chasing Jamie McMurray. Let's take a look at what Charlotte Motor Speedway looks like here at the start-finish line. We want a nice wide arc into turn 1, really carry that speed, and when you get to about the middle, you can pick pick up the throttle, hit that little dip for some extra grip, the dip grip as it were, down the back straightaway and into turn 3. This is the loosest part of the racetrack. The rear end wants to come out if you are braking a little bit too tough, and then following on through, and that is a lap at Charlotte Motor Speedway. 12 laps to go now. Jimmy Johnson is still out front, but Chase Elliott is starting to close the gap. Here's a battle between the 3 Fords. Joey Logano and Kevin Harvick up top, Ryan Blaney to the bottom, and Alex Bowman trying to follow them through. Blaney on the inside should be able to complete the pass here under Bowman. He does indeed, and get them single filed back out. Denny Hamlin being pressured by Casey Kane. Interesting indeed. Or that was Jamie McMurray. I was wondering why Casey Kane was running so well. Poor Ryan Newman here off the pace. Something is wrong with Ryan Newman's car. Hopefully he can keep it on the lead lap between these stages and he can work on it. Oh, trouble. Trouble in turn 3 and 4. Saka is around spinning. He doesn't hit anybody. Who else is involved? Looks like Jamie McMurray was also involved. McMurray now will be coming down pit road, and that looks terminal for Jamie McMurray. I don't think he will be able to do the 6-minute clock and get back out on the racetrack. Jamie McMurray tonight is done. Let's take a look at what caused this incident. Saka looking low, and as they go down in turn 3, you could right there, you can see the right rear brake out. Saka has to try to catch and save it, and into the 1 of Jamie McMurray, and that was a very hard hit. The following video is brought to you by the guys at the Wrecking and Racing Podcast, a NASCAR podcast made by the fans for the fans. Check them out at www.wreckingandracing.com, facebook.com/wreckingandracing, and Twitter @wreckingandracing. Welcome back to Charlotte Motor Speedway, coming to 6 laps to go, and looking at Saka's car after the pit stop to repair everything on the right side looks decent enough. He was able to get the tires clear and 4 fresh tires, but with 6 laps to go, Chase Elliott will bring them down. Green flag back out in the air. 6 laps to go. Chase Elliott, Jimmy Johnson, and Brandon looking solid in third. Clint Boyer and William Byron fighting hard, and Saka is going to have to make the most of those 4 tires coming up through the field. No one else pitted, so it's going to be charging through the front here. These drivers are getting everything they can on this double file restart. Kyle Larson on the inside of Kyle Busch, followed by Ricky Stenhouse Jr. and Casey Kane. The RCR cars of Austin Dillon and Ryan Newman, and Saka looking to the inside to take both of them. And so far, the leaders are starting to single file out well. Kurt Busch looking to the inside of Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Now double file up front. Clint Boyer trying to make a move on William Byron, followed by that 78 of Martin Truex Jr., who is very tough on 1.5-mile racetracks like Charlotte. Ryan Blaney on the inside of Kevin Harvick as well. With 4 laps to go, we are getting down to the very end before our first stage break. And Clint Boyer looking to the inside of Brandon. He scrapes the track just a little bit, washes up top, puts the throttle down, and stays in front of that 14 car. Almost 3 wide in the pack behind him. Saka making some moves around at the 18 of Kyle Busch and focuses on his brother in the 41. The Monster Energy 41 of Kurt Busch around the outside, carrying that speed. He'll complete that pass again. So coming up through the field fairly well with those new tires. Certainly he would have liked the race to go just a little bit further, but Chase Elliott still shows the way in front of the 48 of Jimmy Johnson. Coming to 2 laps to go, this time by Chase Elliott. Looks like he has this segment in hand. And where did Jimmy Johnson? Jimmy Johnson with a strategy play before pits are closed for the segment break. Jimmy Johnson coming down for 4 tires. An interesting strategy indeed. We'll see if it pays off. Saka now looking to the outside of Brad Keselowski. A big move and big power around the outside, tracking down the 88 of Alex Bowman. Everyone is starting to get a little bit spaced out here, but Chase Elliott on the white flag lap. One more lap to go, and it looks like Chase Elliott is smooth sailing from here on out. Saka with a battle around the 88 car and a hard charging around the outside. He might be able to get to Kevin Harvick here inside turn 3, but it doesn't matter. Chase Elliott will come across the line to take segment 1. Brandon will come across the line in second, followed by Martin Truex Jr. in third. Saka does get Kevin Harvick at the line. And bringing up shotgun on the field, Ryan Newman. So we will re-rack them and be back for segment 2. The following video is brought to you by the guys at the Wrecking and Racing Podcast, a NASCAR podcast made by the fans for the fans. Check them out at www.wreckingandracing.com, facebook.com/wreckingandracing, and Twitter @wreckingandracing. Segment 2 is about to begin. Ladies and gentlemen, Brandon on the inside of row 1, Kyle Busch on the outside, Jimmy Johnson and Saka make up row 2. So not a big gain or loss for Jimmy Johnson there. Denny Hamlin and Martin Truex Jr. make up row 3. Kyle Larson and Chase Elliott complete row 4. Row 5, Clint Boyer and Ryan Blaney, the Fords. Row 6, William Byron and Kevin Harvick. Row 7, Joey Logano and Alex Bowman. Row 8, Brad Keselowski and Kurt Busch. Row 9, Casey Kane and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Row 10, the Richard Childress Chevys of Austin Dillon and Ryan Newman. And bringing up last, Matt Kenseth on row 11. Jamie McMurray was not able to continue. The field is now in the hands of Brandon. 20 more laps in this final segment. Green flag is in the air. Kyle Busch gets a spirited start on the outside. If Brandon can get down to the bottom, he can retain the lead. Saka up in the wall. A little wiggle and out of the groove. Saka goes backwards on the outside, 3 wide. This track you can run 2 wide fairly well, but 3 wide is sketchy going inside turn 3. Saka's still 3 wide with Alex Bowman and Casey Kane getting the power down. They made it work. Coming across the line, 3 wide. Kane almost forced into the grass. So Saka drops 3/4 of the field outside that row, and just one wiggle is enough to ruin your night. He's got 19 laps to get it done. Cars in front of him running 2 by 2. Kevin Harvick trying to look to the inside of Ryan Blaney and Alex Bowman on the inside there. Kurt Busch going to take that position, and you can see the right side damage on Saka's car. It's pretty beat up. Let's do a crank it up. Brandon out front with 14 laps to go. Kyle Busch daunting his rear bumper. Brandon to the outside groove, trying to get that bite. Jimmy Johnson within striking distance in third. Martin Truex Jr. fourth. Kyle Larson in fifth. And a battle between fifth on back. A big group of cars back there. Kevin Harvick almost moves William Byron out of the bottom groove. Kevin Harvick fighting back on the inside behind his Stewart-Haas teammate Clint Bowyer under the 11 of Denny Hamlin. Ryan Blaney looking on, trying to make a move behind him. Brad Keselowski and Saka follow them. They'll get single filed out. Saka fighting hard with Alex Bowman there in the 88 car behind him. And it looks like Blaney and Brad are fast, and so is the 88 of Alex Bowman, making a move to the inside of Saka. Kurt Busch in that 41 right behind them. 12 laps to go, and Saka really hasn't made a big run. Speaking of run, Kyle Busch down the inside bumps Brandon up into the wall. Truex and Johnson go by. Brandon off the wall, slow to the bottom. Joey Logano, Larson, and Elliott will go by on the outside as well as Clint Bowyer. Denny Hamlin goes by. Brandon has lost as much ground as Saka did. And in fact, we can see them getting real close together. Kevin Harvick on Brandon's back bumper with William Byron and Ryan Blaney behind him. Devastating turn of events for both team cars. Brandon and Saka not having a segment 2 that they want to remember. Brandon fights back valiantly on the outside of Denny Hamlin to complete that pass, but the leaders are single file and gone. Truex, Johnson, and Kyle Busch. Saka all looks to make it 3 wide, right on the outside of Brad Keselowski into Ryan Blaney. Blaney up into the wall. With 10 laps to go in the All-Star race, you've got to go, and Ryan Blaney, unfortunately, is a victim of contact. Looks like Brad Keselowski is passing Hamlin, and Saka looks to be passing Hamlin as well. So Hamlin has not had a good last few laps. These cars are starting to become a handful to drive. Handling is going away for nearly everyone except Martin Truex Jr. out on the point. 9 laps to go now for the mile-and-a-half king, Martin Truex Jr., followed by Kyle Busch and Jimmy Johnson in third. Let's see exactly how much of a lead he has. You can see the gap, a good few seconds between Truex and that pack of cars behind him. Kurt Busch making a move under Hamlin, as well as Ryan Blaney with a busted fender. So Hamlin must be having issues. He can't hold the bottom. He is getting past, and he'll drop back to Ricky Stenhouse Jr. and Austin Dillon if he's not careful. Ryan Blaney making a move under the 41 there. And Kevin Harvick fighting back against William Byron. We saw them almost touch earlier in the race. Harvick looks to the inside. Byron fights back on the outside, getting that good run. We can see Brandon hunting down Clint Bowyer as well. 7 laps to go. Blaney making that's Logano making a pass on Johnson. So if Logano has some speed here, he'll have to get around the 18 of Kyle Busch. So a good fast 4 lead this field, and Kyle Larson picks up 5th in that second group. Let's take a look at Kyle Busch and how he can try to get into the tire tracks of Martin Truex Jr. Can he make up any speed, or is Joey Logano going to put the pressure down? A long group of cars. Kurt Busch going to the inside, Austin Dillon going to the inside, and these back markers of Casey Kane. Poor Ryan Newman and Matt Kenseth not having the night he wants to remember. Harvick now right on the back bumper of William Byron. They look to be catching Brandon just a bit, but Brandon is also catching the 14 of Clint Bowyer in front of him, trying to make his way back into the top 5 if he can. These cars are very equal as far as running goes, as far as their speed. A driver has to make a mistake in order to be capitalized on. There goes Truex. There's the gap back to Larson. A good group of cars, then another gap by Saka and Bowman, then a group of 3, and then the back markers. So the field is starting to get stretched out, but with only 4 laps to go, lap traffic will not be a factor Martin Truex Jr. will have clear sailing as long as he stays out front. And we can look, and Byron has gapped Kevin Harvick just a bit. Either Harvick slipped up or Byron picked up the speed just a touch, but all those cars are under a blanket. Larson, Elliott, Bowyer, Brandon, Byron, and Harvick. Let's take a look from the helicopter cam. Martin Truex Jr. 3 laps to go, and Joey Logano is trying to track him down. This could be a good battle to the finish. Martin Truex Jr. extremely tough on these 1.5 miles, and we're coming down to 3 miles to go looking back from Martin Truex Jr.'s rear bumper now. Logano stalking silently, stalking closely, and Truex was able to pick up the throttle there. Joey Logano did not get a good turn 4. 2 laps to go for Martin Truex Jr. Logano behind, then Busch and Johnson side by side. Chase Elliott under the 42 of Kyle Larson, our Stage 1 winner, and Clint Bowyer within shouting distance of the 42. Bowyer looks to the inside, Byron looking to the inside of Brandon, so this group right here has decided to tighten up. Brandon on the outside trying to get a good run around the 24. Kevin Harvick looks to be fighting amongst them as well. Perhaps Brandon's tires have given off. White flag is in the air for these guys. 1 more lap to go. Brandon fighting back around the 24. He'll complete the pass coming to the backstretch, but it's all about the man of the hour, Martin Truex Jr. When he was just a young kid, he knew he wanted to be a rocket scientist, and he didn't. But he got into racing, and it's a good thing he did. Martin Truex Jr. takes the All-Star race. Kyle Busch edges Jimmy Johnson, and you can see the gap behind those cars there. Saka edges the 88 of Alex Bowman, Stenhouse, then Dillon, and a long, long way to Casey Kane. And then Truex can get to victory lane before Newman and the 6 of Matt Kenseth get to victory lane. So, Martin Truex Jr. takes the victory here at the All-Star race. A good run. It was to be expected. It sets him up well for the Coke 600 next week. Martin Truex Jr. will definitely be a car to watch. And Martin Truex Jr. will pull into his pit crew. Oh, and Bowman. Bowman is not happy with Saka on the cool-down lap. I don't know what that was for. Perhaps Saka cut him off. Bowman turns Saka on the cool-down lap. Bowman is up and gets hit by Ryan Blaney. Some post-race fireworks. Kurt Busch, Blaney, Stenhouse, and Dillon collected in it. And that could have been the most exciting thing you've seen all night. But that is going to do it from me and this All-Star race. Ladies and gentlemen, like, share, and subscribe if you are so bold. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we will see you next week for the Coke 600. Take care.